Hello, I am Michelle with two L's,
And I'm Natalie the Red.
and we are Forcify Entertainment, and we are here to give you our spoiler-free. If we decide to discuss any spoilers, we'll save it for the very end and give you warning.
We're nice like that.
We are. So our spoiler-free review of the new Marvel movie, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. The way we do our reviews, for those of you who've never watched, we give you our initial thoughts, what we liked, what we didn't like, and then we rate the movie
Accordingly.
Yes. So we will start with
Very professional.
Yes, it is. It is very. It's on a hoot system. It is very professional. So let's get into this. Initial thoughts. My initial thoughts were I liked this movie a lot better than the first Doctor Strange. Natalie, what were your?
Not that last sentence? Ooh, that was an understatement.
And I guess we should say we actually saw the first Doctor Strange together, and we both were not fans at all. Like it kind of scarred me actually to not want to see Marvel movies. I disliked it that much. So I will give that disclaimer. And we are total Marvel normies, guys.
We are. So don't expect too much knowledge from us. We are not the fountain of Marvel knowledge.
But if you want to hear two normies talk about this movie.
Because I think sometimes, it's interesting to hear somebody's perspective on something you love and know like that's just going into it, not knowing all the details you do.
Well, because
what their impression of
the vast majority of viewers are normies.
That's true.
So, I mean, it is what it is. So that's our initial thoughts.
Let me give you my
initial okay.
thoughts.
I thought you were just saying you were on that.
Okay, I've been waiting to say this, by the way. Color me surprised.
Okay.
That's what I've got as
So now you'll see why she's surprised. We'll get into what we liked. And overall, I really I didn't know what to expect. And maybe it helped me out that I didn't really have high expectations going into this movie.
It helped a lot.
But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a very entertaining movie. Is it perfect? No. We'll get into some of the dislikes. But I thought it was a very entertaining movie, which is why we go to the movies to be entertained.
And I just think for Marvel, I have to
Sam Raimi.
Yeah, give a slow clap that I feel like just visually in different ways, they tried something different here. And yes. I applaud them for that. And yes, honestly, I kind of dig the direction they might be going.
Well, and let's get into that because of course, in last December, we had Spider-Man and his version of the multiverse. So I think it was a very smart move to make this different, to stand apart and be unique from the Spider-Man multiverse that we just saw. And I think they really accomplished that. Like this really is the title is true.
Yeah,
like the multiverse of madness. Like I will say that too. If you are thinking about taking your kids, I text my brother and was like, I don't know if my youngest nephew, if this movie is for him. Like,
yeah,
because there definitely are. Of course, Sam Raimi is the director, and he's made his name through horror movies, and of course the Spider-Man movies at the early 2000s. But mostly horror. And while this is not a horror movie, there's a lot of horror elements. And that's one of the things I actually really enjoyed about this movie.
I would say pretty on the strong end of horror elements.
Yes. Like, and that's one of the reasons I think I enjoyed it so much is Marvel had kind of
different.
Yes. Marvel had kind of gone to the place with me where I was starting to get bored. And I feel like this really spices things up because there's never been anything like this in the MCU to truly they lean heavily into horror elements as this movie gets going. And to me, I know a lot of people, I've heard some people really like the opening scene. That's good for them. This movie for me really takes off when Wanda comes into this movie about 15 minutes into the movie.
I mean, I think, is it Benedict Cumberbatch?
Yes.
That plays Doctor Strange, of course. I think, he does fantastic as him. And he's a great actor, I think, in general. But Elizabeth Olsen kind of stole the show for me in this movie.
Yes. And I want to say,
she did so good at being the villain.
Yes. Well, and I want to say in that, in a way, though, that doesn't undermine Strange.
Yeah.
Because this movie really, it's almost like Batman versus Superman. It's Doctor Strange versus the Scarlet Witch. Like you got the sorcerer, who's I guess not the Sorcerer Supreme anymore, but you got this great sorcerer versus the Scarlet Witch. And it's pretty much just a showdown versus the two of them throughout this movie.
And might I add, he's definitely still the main character.
Yes.
He's the protagonist. So yeah, he's still very much like, I don't think like some people might think that, the woman kind of dominated the movie, but I don't really think that's the case.
No, but
is she in it a lot? Yes.
Something I've not genuinely enjoyed many of the Marvel villains. They've been bland and boring to me most of the time. And I thought like Scarlet Witch was like a great villain.
Like she was horrifying at times. Not horrifying, but for a Marvel movie, but she was also kind of mesmerizing.
Oh, the makeup department. I mean, is it Elizabeth Olsen?
So, yeah.
I mean, she can be stunning, and I mean,
she looked really stunning.
She was stunning
as a Scarlet Witch, especially in the beginning before she gets a little dirtied along the way. But she looks great.
Yeah, she looks fantastic, and it really, again, that was one of the things I really liked is how they. And some people, I think, were expecting a lot more Marvel cameos, but I actually really enjoy that this movie just focuses, again, it's Doctor Strange versus Scarlet Witch, and that's what the movie focuses on throughout the entirety of the story.
Yeah, like a ping pong, just back and forth, them at each other.
Yeah, it was.
But in an interesting way.
Yes.
There's a lot going on.
And some of the, of course, Sam Raimi again, some of the visuals were just so trippy in a beautiful and stunning way to watch. So many scenes in this I could begin to say of just, you were like, wow, like that's
and some just almost straight up put me in like a dreamlike state. Like they were so visually stunning.
Yeah, they really were. Some of the things they do, some of the decisions they make with Scarlet Witch, just again so amazing, like the visuals that he does, and then the horror elements that there's kind of some jump scares in this movie.
Well, and I'll go ahead and warn you, like she was saying about younger kids, certainly. Yes. I mean, this movie, it doesn't shy away from
she's Scarlet Witch,
some brutality, if you know what I'm saying.
Yes, okay. So
which is also kind of different for a Marvel movie.
It is, and I'm not someone who really necessarily just likes
for that
brutality, but it really worked in this movie. You were like, wow, they went there.
Like the stakes are high.
Yeah, like people are dying. Like
she's not messing around.
Yes, like Sony, of course, had the movie Let There Be Carnage, but this movie, there literally is Let There Be Carnage. Like, I mean,
there's a decent amount of carnage.
Yes, like Wanda's gone mad, and there is a lot of carnage in this movie. So if you enjoy that, I think you'll enjoy this movie. I don't necessarily even enjoy it, but it was fun to watch. They did it very well.
And it worked in the movie.
It did. It was executed very well in this movie. But yeah, those are some of the things that I really liked in this movie. Anything else? I think I about covered what I can think of.
Yeah,
without spoiling. There are some fun cameos in this. And the scene that specifically has some of the cameos in it, that's when there's a lot of carnage and it gets wild.
A lot of carnage.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. And again, to me, it was just kind of like Marvel needed some fresh air. And this kind of breathed fresh air into the MCU, in my opinion, just because of those horror elements and it being as brutal as it actually is. It was
ironically a movie with a lot of death.
Yeah,
and horror elements was able
also
to
stunning.
Breathe some fresh air, like she said. It's a weird thing.
Yeah, it was cool. So that's what we liked, and then what I did not like. I will say this. Of course, I did watch the Disney Plus show WandaVision. If you did not watch that, and even if you did, I will say this, and I accepted it. Now, Wanda is kind of a one-dimensional villain, but you kind of forget that because you're enjoying the carnage of everything going on so much. So I will give that there's a slight negative, I guess, in that she's kind of one-dimensional, just like her focus of why she's doing what she's doing. And I will say this, it's kind of like she goes full like Anakin after Order 66 has been given, but you don't see the lead up to that point. So you just kind of have to accept that she's lost her mind and truly gone mad without really
you'll see if you watch this.
Without really giving a full reason of why she's fully gone mad. They give a slight one. They give a slight one that I could explain in a spoiler, but
I feel maybe a little more explanation would have been nice, a little more context for why she's arrived at this place.
Yes, and I think it is. I don't think this is much of a spoiler warning if you think it is, but she's kind of under the possession of the Darkhold, so to say. So they give that out, like she's almost possessed in a way.
Kind of like there's not a lot of Wanda left.
No, Wanda's kind of gone.
She's left the building.
And then I also will say, as someone who did enjoy WandaVision for the most part, is the focus is just on her getting her children back. And it's like, but what about Vision?
Because I thought about that this morning.
Because
actually,
in the show, she wants the family.
Like you'd think she'd be trying really hard to get him back somehow.
Because he has to be out there in some other multiverse.
Yeah.
And I think even especially like their touching scene at the end of that show, it definitely indicated they would meet each other again. And so it was a little odd that he's really not mentioned much.
Kind of far from her mind.
Yeah, he's mentioned, but it's not like a motivating factor for her, which is a little off if you watch the show.
Well, the way it seemed in the movie is kind of almost like she had accepted he's gone, but the kids, so I don't know what was up with that.
And that's kind of hard to swallow if you watch the show. It doesn't seem like the same Wanda in a way. So I'll say that as far as a negative. And then of course there is like some cheesy humor and like even
extra cheese sometimes.
Even Doctor Strange's like motivational speech at the end was kind of like a little eye rolling. It was cheesy. It was cheesy, but and then I will say this, like, is this movie woke? No, I would say it's not, but there is one thing that those of you, when you watch it,
you'll know the scene we're saying.
You're going to know how forced it was, and you're going to roll your eyes.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to do, but it's kind of like one moment, and then you don't really think about it the rest of the movie.
It doesn't really come up again the rest of the movie, so there's that.
Yeah, there is that, and that's just kind of where we are in today's time. I mean, you can just kind of hope for it's just a moment and not the whole thing.
And not just so much.
Yes. But yeah, that's kind of, I would say, my negatives, I guess, of the movie.
But overall,
I enjoyed it.
I mean, I think it just surprised me so much. It surprised me that like, oh, wait a minute, I got to a certain point that like, I'm actually kind of like really paying attention here, and this is pretty interesting, and some beautiful visuals to look at. Like, they really tried something a little different here. I commend them for that.
Yeah, I do too. And again, guys, maybe it's because we didn't have any expectations going to see this movie.
No, actually, I had low expectations.
Yeah,
if I'm honest,
I probably had like none. She had low, and they exceeded that.
Yeah.
So I think if you go in with super high expectations, maybe you will be disappointed. I don't know. That kind of depends on the person. But it was refreshingly different, and it's rare that I would go see a Marvel movie a second time in theaters. But if someone was like, hey, Michelle, you want to go see this? I'd be like, sure, like, let's go see it.
Totally.
Because this movie is a little over 2 hours, but it kind of flies by.
It moves pretty quickly.
Yes. In a way that like in a good pacing, I think, for this type of movie and what it was. So I enjoyed it. So let us give you
slowed down moments with some really pretty visuals.
Yes.
Okay. Last compliment, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. And then I will say on a negative, I think Marvel really struggles to do a good romance. They try to kind of indicate it with him and Rachel McAdams' character, but Marvel just really kind of struggles in that department, in my opinion. But okay, so moving into our rating of this movie, we rate this out of 5 hoots, and this is based on the level of our entertainment.
Yes, we are not Siskel and Ebert.
We're not. I am going to give this movie 4 out of 5 hoots. I really enjoyed it. I was surprised at how much I enjoyed it. And again, just because it was unique and I really enjoyed the horror elements and the fact that there is carnage in this movie. It was just kind of different and refreshing.
I mean, yeah. So great minds must think alike, because I was also going to give it a 4. No joke. I'm not just copying you guys. That was kind of the rating I was going to give it. But
well, because it's not perfect.
It's definitely not perfect, but if you had told me you're going to be more interested and kind of enjoy Doctor Strange
than the Batman,
than several things I've watched recently, I would have been like, no way. No, you're joking, right? So I'm just, color me surprised.
Yeah. So 4 hoots from both of us. But yeah, that's our thoughts on the new movie Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. What have you guys thought? Are you going to see it? Have you seen it? Did you like it? Not like it? Share your thoughts below. And if you have not yet, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Also give the video a thumbs up. And as always, ladies and gentlemen,
thanks for stopping by.
Remember to be a force of light. All right. Bye guys.